Conservative MP David Davis used to be the Shadow Home Secretary and is campaigning for the UK to leave the EU. He's made a speech this morning in which he says the EU has been a destroyer of jobs across the continent and has created next to no jobs in the UK in recent years. He joins me now. On the immigration figures, people come here to work because there are jobs, but don't immigrants actually contribute to growth in the economy?
Well, they contribute to the aggregate growth, that is the total size of the economy. But if you actually look at GDP per capita, the amount of wealth per person that's created, that's only now been growing at about 1% for the last 5 years. And that's because immigration's, as it were, diluting the effect. So yes, listen, if I were Romanian, I'd be in London. If I were Bulgarian, I'd be in London. If I were a Greek, I'd be in London because the jobs are here and they're coming to work.
And lots of employers rely on them, don't they? Manufacturing, retail, hospitality, particularly dependent on EU workers.
Let me deal with that in a second. But they come here to work, which is why the welfare arguments have been put up in the past have really not stood up. But what you're seeing here is two things. I mean, firstly, it's out of control. There's simply no way for the government to actually manage this number. Secondly, it's systematically high now, much, much higher than we think is healthy for the economy. And you're right, you don't want a zero immigration economy. You want somewhere between 0 and 100,000, depending on how the economy is growing, what the needs are, whether you need doctors, nurses, waiters, chefs, whatever. But you need to be able to make that decision yourself. That's the point. And here it's not. It's run away. And it's been driven too by two other things. One, which we're seeing already, which is the effect of the euro crisis. The disaster in terms of job destruction in southern Europe caused by the euro is leading a lot of Greeks and Portuguese and Spaniards and Italians to come here. That's why that's such a big number now.
Okay, well, that's the focus on the numbers.
That's going to get worse in a minute, but I'll come back to that.
Okay,
right?
but that's the focus on the numbers of people who are coming here. But what about the numbers of British people leaving? Because that's gone down, as Danny Shaw was explaining, to its lowest level since the 1990s. So that's one explanation, isn't it, of why the figure is high today?
It's a little bit of an explanation, and part of that too, I suspect. I don't know. It's very hard to understand this bit of these numbers, but I suspect some of that's to do with the euro as well. That people are worrying about taking their savings and going to live in Spain or wherever. Or
they're worried about a Brexit vote.
No, I don't think so. That doesn't sort of stand up, I'm afraid. These numbers have been declining since about 2008, so that doesn't really hold up. But the real issue here at the end of the day is we've got one more big leap coming, and that is we are now increasing the minimum wage. Now, that's a good policy generically, but if you're a Romanian, we're talking about the minimum wage in Britain next year being about 3 or 4 times your average wage. So again, if I came from Romania, if I came from Bulgaria, I'd be here. I don't blame them for that, but I think the government has to recognise that for as long as we're inside the European Union, this is what's going to happen every year, with pressure on jobs, pressure on housing, pressure on public services. Really difficult.
So you've made your views very clear on this issue. Do you obviously feel that immigration is a strong issue for the Vote Leave campaign? Do you think it should be a core part of the campaign now?
Well, it's an important part for a lot of people. I mean, listen, my primary concern about Brexit or about being within the EU is we no longer control our own affairs. This is one symptom of it, but it's by no means the only one.
But that's a change of strategy for Vote Leave, isn't it? Because earlier on we were briefed that it wasn't going to be dominated by immigration.
I'm not a spokesman for Vote Leave. I'm just a long-standing Brexit campaigner. But look, I don't think you can ignore any of these arguments. The government is throwing the kitchen sink in terms of sort of panicky stories at this referendum, and I think Vote Leave or all the Leave organisations have to face up to all of them, and that includes immigration, it includes jobs, it includes security, the lot. They all argue one way, in my view, and that's our best bet is to leave.
David Davis.